Hi everybody. I thought I would take this opportunity now that we're all practicing social distancing and I can't actually get my hands on your violin to help you tune in person, make a little YouTube video and go through a few basic tuning tutorials. Okay, so I've got my full-size violin back here, but I also pulled out an 1/8 size violin because that might be a little closer to what you parents are going to be dealing with in terms of helping your child. So there's a couple of different ways that we can tune an instrument. There's the fine tuners down here. I'll get a little bit closer. These little metal tuners that you can twist to the right will tighten the string or make the pitch go higher, and if you loosen it, if you go lefty-loosey, it'll cause the string to become looser and the pitch will go down. So one of the things about tuning a violin, especially a small one, especially the high string, the E string, is you don't want to go above the E pitch because it's already under so much tension. If you go beyond the E, it's quite likely that you'll snap the string and then we've got a bigger issue to deal with. So make sure that if you're unsure, I guess, if the string is too high or too low, always loosen it first until it's obviously too low and then come up to the pitch. We can use a piano to tune if you have a keyboard or a piano at home. You can use an app on your phone. I have an iPhone and I use an app that is called, let's check it out here. It's free. There's lots of free apps out there. This one is called Tuner Lite, and it looks like this. And that's a good one. It's worked well for me. There's a lot out there that will work. So I just hit the tuning fork on this one, and then there's a little scale. It's either below the pitch, right at the pitch, or above the pitch. So I'm going to be looking for that green light when it's right at the pitch. And as I said earlier, there's the fine tuners, and that's what we're going to use first. But if the fine tuner is pushed down too far, if you can't get any further down, you're going to have to loosen that quite a bit and then go to the pegs. But right now, I'm just going to show you how to use the fine tuners, and then we'll get to the pegs. Okay, so I've pressed the tuning fork on this right there, and you can see just from my voice, it's picking up all the different pitches. So this first note that I'm going to tune is an E. So I'm going to put the violin right here, right where my hip is, kind of brace it there, and I have my left hand, my violin hand, around the neck and the body a little bit, and then I'm going to be using my thumb to pluck the E string. Now I can already hear that that's flat, but I'm going to look at my machine and it's showing an E flat, and I want it to be an E natural. So I'm going to turn this fine tuner right here, this one, it's connected to the E string, the thinnest string. I'm going to turn that up to the right. Okay, now that's getting pretty close. When you pluck these, especially the smaller instruments, they're not going to be perfectly in tune and registering perfectly on any of these tuners. But I'm going to get it kind of close, and I'm going to go to the next string. Here's the A. That's also a little flat. As soon as I see that little green light coming on at all, I'm going to say, okay, that's good. I don't want to go too high. And here's the D. I'm still using my left hand and my left thumb to pluck. Okay, and my right hand to turn. That's flat, so I'm bringing it up. I think that's a little high, but it's still quite close. I'm going to leave that until I grab the bow. That'll give me a more accurate pitch. Here's the G. Whoa, that's showing an F sharp, so I'll bring that up. Righty-tighty, bring it up a little bit. And while I am turning it, I'm plucking the whole time so I don't go beyond the pitch. Okay, that's pretty good. So I'm going to grab the bow now and see if I can get a more accurate pitch. So this is so tiny, it's really hard for me to have good violin position, but this is an 8th size. But I'll see what I can do, and you can have your child play the violin one string at a time so you can get in there and tune. It might be easier for you to just tune and not try and play. Okay, here's the E. Well, I lucked out on that one. That was perfectly green light. That little wand is straight up and down, pointing to the E. The A is just a tiny bit high, so I'm going to go to the A fine tuner. That's the second thinnest string, and I'm going to do a lefty-loosey, just half a turn. Oh, that was too much. So up a quarter turn. There we go. Over to the D. Whoa, I went way too high on that one. I remember it was a little high when I was plucking, but it's definitely a half turn down. Still too high. Quarter turn down. There we go. And the low string, the G. That's still flat, so quarter turn up. Another quarter turn up. And there you have it. Okay, so that's in tune. Now what happens, stay with me here, what happens if the fine tuner was already screwed down so tight that I couldn't bring the string up any higher? So I would need to loosen that fine tuner. And you can see there's different kinds of fine tuners. Some of them, actually, if they're screwed down too far, there's a little lever that will crash right into the top of the violin, so be careful with that. These, I don't know if any of you have this type of fine tuner. It just kind of pushes the string down, sort of like somebody walking on a tight wire. And so I'm going to loosen the E, because it's, I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of pushed down there a little bit too far. So I'm going to loosen the E fine tuner, lefty-loosey. Not so far that it'll pop off, and these will pop off if you go too far. So you'll find that out. Just go until it kind of feels, you can see it and you can feel it as it gets kind of towards the top, giving it a little bit of space right there. Now I'm going to need to use the peg. And the way the pegs are designed, they're kind of a wedge shape, and it goes into the peg box. So I'm going to push the peg in while I'm turning it, while I'm plucking it. This takes some coordination, but you can do it. So violin right in the hip, left hand, really holding it down into the hip. Still going to pluck with my left thumb. You can hear that's flat, and I can see it on my tuner. Now I'm going to take the E peg, and you really need to look, follow the string. I'm following this thin string, the E string, all the way up into the peg box. And the E peg is on the right, it's the lower right. Okay, the A string peg is upper right, D is upper left, and G is lower left. So you really need to pay attention to which peg you're working on, because you don't want to accidentally go too high on another string when you can't hear it. If you're plucking the wrong string, and you can break the string. So here's the E. I'm going to push in while I'm very slowly, just a tiny bit, righty-tighty. I mean, it hardly feels like I'm doing anything. In fact, this peg is a little stuck, so I'm going to have to come down first and then back up while I'm plucking. Oh yeah. Okay, so I had to go down and then back up, and now I'm going to use the bow and see if I can use the fine tuner. It's a little flat, but I've created a lot of room here for the fine tuner to get the last little bit, so I'm going to go half a turn up. And maybe an eighth of a turn up, because I'm almost there. and I'm there. Okay, so for the E, left hand plucking with the thumb, right hand pushing in and turning. For the A peg, it's also on the right side. See if I can get that. So the A peg, also left thumb pushing in, turning the peg with the right hand. When you get to the D string, because the peg is upper left, you're going to have to switch hands. I know, this is coordination. Left hand plucking. So this, wait, did I say that right? Left hand is turning the peg, the right hand is doing the plucking. Same thing in the hip, right thumb plucking, and then the left hand would be turning the D peg, and same thing for the G string, it's the right hand thumb plucking and the left hand turning the G peg. It's a little complicated at first, but it's basic physics. Just make sure you don't go beyond the pitch, especially with the pegs. It's really easy to go too far with the pegs. Give me a call if you have any questions. All right, good luck.